This is Things Police See, First-Hand Accounts, with your host, Steve Gold.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast that interviews active and retired police officers about their most intense, bizarre, and sometimes humorous moments on the job. I'm Steve Gould. I'm the host. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to the podcast, you can rest assured behind this episode there is over 100 hours of, I think, the best compiled database, I guess, or list or library of police stories, war stories on the internet. There's other podcasts out there, but I believe the guests that I've had, the stories are extraordinary, and they give you a true insight to what it's like to be a police officer. It's no holds barred. It's not edited. They just speak freely, and they tell all the stories, all the graphic details, and I think it's a really great library of stories. And to no credit to me, all to the guys and gals that agree to come on here and kind of just give you an inside look at what it's really like to be a police officer, like a fly on the wall. So super proud of the podcast, super happy people keep wanting to come on. I'm very appreciative of the 5-star reviews. They truly help. We have almost 700 at this point. I want to get to 1,000 because that just looks good, like the 1 and the K on the podcast app, Apple Podcasts. So the idea is, just so you know, the most recent 5-star review, it just says 5 stars, so I appreciate it, thank you. But then it says, I want to be a guest. So just so you know, steve@thingspolicec.com or the website thingspolicec.com is the place to get in touch with me to be a guest. When you leave a rating on iTunes, I don't have any info on you. It's just whatever name you made up for iTunes, and then I want to be a guest. I have no way to contact you. I don't know. Appreciate the 5 stars, but it's not how it works, friend. You gotta contact me through email. Let's do the sponsors or the supporters of the show real quick. Oh yeah, I'm talking about Luke Ervig, Corey Payne, Brandon Hooker, Lauren Stimson, Jeremy Woods, Tony Fahey, Jacob Ruth, Rich Emery, Deputy William J. Long, the great Gary Steiner, Richard Wilson, Scott O'Donnell, the great David Diaz, and Timothy Wright. Thank you guys for your continued support. Not going to lie to you. Wish there was more of you, but you guys are holding down the fort. You are providing some support to the show. I truly appreciate that. My face is a little bit pink today. I march on with the workouts that Broadway wrote for me. I don't know if you guys work out or not, or you should if you're in law enforcement, but it's hard. So I haven't done it in a few years, and baby, it's tough. I look like a strawberry right now. I can't get my face from being pink. I got the workout today was like mostly my lower unit, like my legs. And coming down to the podcast studio, it was like a young giraffe standing for the first time. I wasn't 100% sure I would make it. Probably like one level above incontinent is how I'm feeling. My legs are so wobbly, but it feels good, and it goes away, right? I used to work out. I recognize that if I get through the first couple weeks, I'll be better for it. So my hat's off to Broadway once again. He's kind of following me on this and holding me accountable, and it's really working out. So I behoove you. Work out. It's good. It's good for your hat. Before we start the episode, this is episode number 103. I want to say join the Facebook group, follow the Instagram, and thingspolicec.com. Give me some support. Follow. I love that. Want to be a guest? That's the place to go. So without further ado, guys, this is episode number 103. We have a 10-year police veteran. First 9 years as a North Carolina deputy sheriff. Now working at a smaller agency. I'm not sure if it's in the same area, but it's in the same state. So he's got some years on. He's kind of he's moved on from where he was originally, which is kind of good for the show because he can probably speak a little bit more freely now that he's not at that agency. So without further ado, he's active on the job, so I don't think the video will go out for this. Maybe I'll have to ask him about it. But also his name will be a fake name or a pseudonym. Is that what they call it? Yeah, pseudonym. So without further ado, let me welcome on Jay. Jay, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Is that what is a pseudonym? Right?
Yes, I believe that's what you call that.
Okay. Jay's like, Steve is dumber than I thought. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. So you went from like large agency to smaller agency, which is not that uncommon in police work. When you're younger, you kind of get into it, you mix it up, and then you go, working at a smaller place wouldn't be all that bad, especially with the climate of what's going on. So what is what's the big difference, positive difference you see changing from a sheriff's organization to like a smaller municipal place?
Well, the biggest thing is no more elections.
Oh, for the sheriff.
Yes. It's always stressful every year when election time rolls around because it doesn't happen as often, but a new sheriff can come in and decide, hey, I'm just going to clean house and bring in my guys. And
yeah. So you're telling me, like, I've realized that about sheriffs. I often forget about it. And it seems like it shouldn't exist in law enforcement. Like, it seems like politics like that should not be involved, but it's as old as America, having sheriffs elected. So I've heard of sheriffs coming in and like clearing out admin guys, like all the assistant sheriffs and chiefs and whatever but I've never heard, will a guy come in like Walking Tall, the movie? Will he actually come in and be like, even patrol guys are gone?
So that doesn't happen as often now with all the training and everything that goes into putting somebody on.
Right.
But it does, it can still happen. But, there's case law now, that basically says, covers the sheriff as that he can fire you for any reason up to and including just not aligning with his political views.
Seriously?
Yep.
Wow. That seems outrageous to me.
So just something as simple as not supporting him, or like if you're out vocal for the opposite candidate, because as you're working, you are a direct representative of the sheriff.
Right.
So I said there were some lawsuits and stuff, and there's actually now case law in the books that says it covers the sheriff to against any kind of being able to be sued for wrongful termination just because of firing just simply for not lining up with the same political views.
Damn, that's insane to me. Like the two states I've worked in, Massachusetts and California, they're both pretty much garbage, but they do have a just cause thing for termination. Like you can't, like your boss just can't be like, hey, you supported the other guy, or imagine like, you're a Trump guy, he's a Biden guy, and he's like, I don't like that. You're out of here. That is crazy to me. So wow, there is. So maybe as a patrol guy, it's a little tumultuous, but like definitely at the supervisor level, someone who's got to go to meetings with the sheriff, you could definitely be in the chopping block.
Oh yeah, and I'll say it's pretty common for anybody admin to worry about their job every 4 years, because new sheriff come in. That's his administrative cabinet is the first thing that he replaces.
It makes sense. Because it's a political thing. So now you're getting. Yep. If they were for the guy who was incumbent, then sayonara, get him out of here.
Yep, and this year our current sheriff is not running for re-election, so it's been interesting to sit back and watch it from the outside in, and not have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, that's that doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I don't like that idea. It seems like it's involving. I mean, for us, like for our like in the Northeast, basically, you can't get involved in politics on any level. Like we've even had chiefs get in trouble for like putting lawn signs out while on duty for like someone running for city council or select board. Like you can be straight up fired for that. You cannot show your political leanings like that while in uniform. So it's way different. But I know county is king in a lot of these southern places, and I've talked to guys that have been to conventions, and the sheriffs are like badasses. Like one guy went to a convention in like Texas, and one of the sheriffs showed up in a helicopter. He was like, "Damn, I'm going to take my chopper to this thing." Gets out with the big white hat. I mean, that's badass. You can't argue that.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't get to do that though, Jay.
No. No, I can't remember the last time I rode in their helicopter.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's not for the low man. That's for the haves. All right, brother. Let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about young Jay going to his first hot call, the first call that got your heart pumping.
Okay. So, literally my first day on the job, we were responding out the very first call to come on shift. It was a domestic call. We turned on the street, started down towards the residence, and the guy and the girlfriend are out in the front yard. He looks up and sees us coming down the street, and he takes off running. So my training officer, that area there is residential, so he cut through the next street over, try to cut him off. And we had another local department that is pretty close in the area as well. Once we checked that we were, in the foot pursuit with him, they started coming for backup. So wind up, he run back around the back of the house where he came out of, and there's a dead end road that comes off the main road and dead ends up close to the rear of that house. So he's running down that road, and the other department had come up. Two of their guys were coming up that road. So he turned around and was running back up towards the house. And I came around the corner of the house running towards him. At this time, he never knew I was in the world. And he's looking back over his shoulder running, watching them guys behind him. I said, I'm going to lay him out.
Nice.
So here I am, full speed, wide open, running. And I get probably 12 to 15 feet away from him. And our detective at the time comes out from between two houses, pulls his taser out and says, "Get on the ground, you're getting tased."
You're like, damn it.
Drops to his knees, throws his hands up, says, "I give up." And here I am, full head of steam, and there ain't nothing I can do. I jump and lift off over his shoulder with my hand and go over top of him and run past him probably 10, 15 yards before I can turn around and get woed up to come back to put him in handcuffs. And so we finally get him up to the jail, and he's, the whole way up there, he's like, "I just love her so much." So I knew it was going to be an interesting career.
Yeah. Did you get your chops busted for overrunning the whole situation?
No, they was just glad I didn't plow him over with him down on his knees with his hands up.
Yeah. Yeah. They're, first call, first day, that's pretty intense. You probably figured, it would have been great if that guy hadn't ruined it. You would have spear tackled him and been like a new guy's a good dude. We like this guy.
Well, that was the plan. And then he had to go ruin it.
Right. And people don't see you, but you're built like a linebacker, so you probably would have not been good for that guy.
No, he had a world of hurt coming. at a high rate of speed.
Is there anything worse than running full tilt in uniform? I think there's not. I hate it.
I guess the only thing worse than running full tilt is running full tilt downhill.
Right. Because you ain't going to stop.
No.
It's better now. Like, I've heard to talk to veteran cops who, like, one guy told me that he was, back in the day, he had like one of those hinge holsters. They'd like swing and it was, just like go down by his leg. And he was running and his heel hit his holster and the gun shot up in the air right next to him. So as he's running, chasing after this guy, the gun pops up and he has to grab his pistol, hold on to it while he tackles the guy. Wow, that sounds pretty secure. Believe it or not, LAPD allows you to carry like almost whatever you want. I think they have a choice of 4 guns. And the old timers I used to notice, guys that were like on the job a long time, still had the swivel holsters with 1 snap. So if you were issued that, you could carry that on. You could have that. You could have like the Denzel Washington big silver Smith & Wesson. You could have a Glock. There was like 3 or 4 guns. I'm like, isn't this a nightmare for your armorers? This is off topic, but the pancake holsters were much worse to run in. But that's a good first hot one. I like that he was heartbroken. Did you guys ever go back to follow up, or was this a frequent flyer?
He was, and it was great because you'd see him around town, and you could immediately know whether he had warrants or not on him, because he would always ride a bicycle whenever you go by him. If you tapped the brakes, then if he took off running, then he had warrants.
Right. Yeah, you can answer that, brother. Good to go?
Yep.
Jay, can you describe to us your most bizarre or strange thing you've dealt with?
Sure.
That was a long pause, brother.
Well, it's also going to be...
if you got multiple, share them,
It's also going to be one of the funniest situations I've had, looking back on. We actually received help from beyond the grave to solve a case one day.
Really?
So, received a call about somebody going in the house and taking some medication from a victim. So they gave us a vehicle description while we're heading to the scene, and about 4 or 5 miles from the house, we wound up passing the vehicle. We get turned around on it, get them stopped. Walk up, it's a man and a woman in the vehicle, and they're kind of wigging out of their heads. And so as we're talking to them, we get them out of the vehicle, and the woman's standing there, and she's like way out there in left field. And so we're asking a few questions, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And the woman just stops. She goes, "Can I tell you something?" Sure. She said, "I talk to people." I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, who do you talk to?" She said, "Dale Earnhardt." I said, "Okay." I said, "Will you do me a favor?" I said, "Did you ask Dale Earnhardt if there's anything in this vehicle that I should know about?" And if I'm lying, I'm not. She looks straight up in there and mumbles a little bit. She goes, "He said that there might be." I said, "Why don't you ask him where it would be if there was?" She looks back up, mumbles a little bit more, but now says, "He says if there was anything, it might be in that black bag right there."
Thank you, Dale Earnhardt.
I said, "What in the world?" I reach in and get it and look in. This, of course, it's all the medication from that with that woman's name on it. And so we wound up arresting him. And as we're processing, I looked back and I said, listen, I said, just make sure you tell him I said thank you. She said, I will do.
So did you arrest the woman or the guy?
Wound up arresting them both for B&E, larceny after B&E, because they went in this woman's house and took the stuff. But it was interesting. So I can also say that, growing up, I was a fan of Dale Earnhardt, and I never knew that he would help me solve a case one day.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that she would. It's like she wanted you to know she talked to him, even if it meant her getting arrested.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you run into that type of thing often? I noticed because when we were in the South, I noticed there was a lot of not a lot, but more than the Northeast, palm readers and stuff.
I can honestly say that's the first one of those that I've run into. And, but I think her issue was more meth reading than palm reading.
Right. She wasn't dedicated to the art. No, I mean, have you stayed in touch? Because she could be a good line for solving future crimes or.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. Maybe I should reach out to her on some of her unsolved stuff, see if Dale can help me out in the grave again.
Right. That's awesome. Jay, can you tell us your most intense or terrifying call?
So, yeah, we probably, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years on into my career. We responded out to a house, come in as, a shots fired call. Well, I mean, we get those all the time, being in the South, being in a
people like guns.
Okay. Yeah. And, people live out in the county, out in the country, because they want to shoot their guns. And, so it was nothing to, get a few of these a night. You go out and just make sure everybody's shooting in a safe direction and go from there. This day, it was probably, it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We were going out to this. It's a small trailer park. So you got 2 rows of trailers side by side, with probably, say, spacing in between the trailers, you probably got 25, 50 foot. And then the space in between the different rows, you've probably got another 100 foot. So we pull up, and we're out with, these 2 people that said, hey, we got here, and dude just come out and took a pop shot at us. Okay, so we're out.
Dude took a pop shot at the first responding unit?
They took a pop shot at the callers.
Oh, the RP. Okay.
So, we're out dealing with that, and dude comes back out of the house and takes 2 or 3 more pop shots while the first responding units are there.
Damn.
So, we're ducked down behind our units with the reporting parties, and my dude's taking firing rounds our vehicles and the reporting parties car there. we can't really, because the way it is, he's inside the house, but he's shooting through a window. So we can't tell exactly where he's at first. And, so it's just us and innocent bystanders all hiding behind this Dodge Charger. So we wind up, the whole world gets there, and we get we're able to get them into a vehicle and out of the area.
And was he targeting them or just shooting cars, it seemed like?
So with when I got down in there, the blue lights were running. So with the lights bouncing, he couldn't really see what he was shooting at. He was just shooting
right
in the area of the lights.
Yeah, blue lights make seeing at night like insane.
Yeah. So we were able to get them out and wind up going around and evacuating all the neighbors, except for the one old lady that lived in the house right beside him. We're trying to get her out, and she's like, I've lived here for 60 years. I ain't going nowhere. And
that's insane.
Yeah.
There's gunfire, ma'am. Oh, well, yeah, that's too bad. I'm not going anywhere. I'd rather die than leave.
So we did wind up physically having to drag her out of the house.
Oh, my gosh.
And so we get, I'm getting an armored vehicle from a neighboring responding county. They come in, and we basically rip the whole side of the trailer off, pumping tear gas in there and just all other.
Did you tie like a Bearcat to like a door or something, rip the trailer apart?
So it had the arm on it with the nozzles that basically poke a hole and run that arm in there, and they can pump it full of tear gas.
Right.
So they were taking it, and once they poke a hole, they turn it to the side and pull it off. So they pulled the front door down like that.
Did he have any communication with you, Jay? Was he saying anything?
Not really. He was very little communication. We had a negotiator inside the Bearcat trying to talk to him. And he'd fire. During the whole thing, he would, because we had the place surrounded. So we had, some of our guys with thermal scopes behind the house, looking at. So he would come out and start shooting out the back door, and then he'd shoot out the front, and then he'd just keep moving around and shooting out, but it wasn't really, at that time, he was just shooting to shoot. He wasn't really putting an effective fire on any.
He wasn't like targeting people. He was just.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of gun was it?
It was a 22 rifle. So we wound up. Finally, after about 10 hours, 8.5 hours, he finally surrendered, and we were able to take him into custody. But it's pretty interesting. That's not wasn't my first time getting shot at, but it was one of the first times where I could hear the bullets going by my head. Yeah.
Zipping. Damn, that's spooky. How many holes did they poke in your vehicles?
So
that's got to piss you off, just like damaging all that equipment.
So there was a couple in the patrol car. There was a few more in the reporting party's car. I'm not sure the exact final total number, but I'm just glad that there wasn't no holes in people that day. Yeah,
absolutely. What was his motive, and did the people there have any explanation for it? Did they know him?
No, they were there seeing somebody else in the trailer park, and like the next door neighbor, and said this guy kind of just kept to himself, and he didn't have any family that come and seen him, and he was kind of weird when you talked to him, but he just kind of kept to himself, and he just went off deep end one day.
What was did you get a chance to interview him or hear what his reasoning was, or was he speaking nonsense when he got dragged out, or?
When they first got him out, he was like, why are you doing this?
Just having a little fun, here? Guys, come on. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So he wasn't there mentally then?
No, they wound up sending him off for evaluation, and I'm not even sure if he was ever found able to stand trial.
Oh, really? Maybe they threw him in the loony bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's not good or normal to do that. Randomly shoot your gun at people at the window.
Especially not once the police showed up to continue to do that.
Yeah, when you were there the whole time, obviously you're finding cover. Were you feeling like I might take one to the dome here? If it, did he get close to you?
So initially, my biggest concern was for the innocent bystanders that were there with us.
Sure.
Because I go to work every day knowing that that's a possibility. That's one of the the hazards of the job. That it could happen, but being behind that vehicle with the other victims there, and basically we were just trying to keep us in between the guy shooting and them, try to provide them as much cover as possible, because they didn't leave the house that day thinking that they wasn't going to make it back home.
Right. Yeah. Damn, man. That's sketchy. How many years in was that?
So that was about 5 or 6 years in.
And you said you got shot at before? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Who shot at you before?
So went to another situation kind of similar. Somebody called in a welfare check on a guy. Hadn't heard from him in a little while, and so I was actually responding. I was a little ways out, and it was coming to him because the county that we patrolled, there were 6 officers on patrol. And the county was 648 square miles of road.
Woo, that's big.
It's the third largest county in North Carolina, and so we're especially up on the outer extents of the county. There's no quick or no easy way to make it from one section to another.
Right.
there's areas of our county where you can be responding, emergency traffic, and go ahead and chalk it up that it's going to take you 45 minutes to an hour.
That's a long time to travel with lights on.
Yeah. And siren, because it just, after that long, it just kind of drowns out. And,
you go into a trance.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this call about again? I don't even remember what I'm responding to.
Yeah. But where I was at, it was actually quicker for me to respond going into the next county over and cutting across it and coming back into our county.
Okay.
Because I could hit the interstate and make a little bit better time. But when I arrived on scene, because it took a couple pop shots at the officers, the first ones that got there. So after I got there, we got the cars out in front of the house trying to, because they literally rolled up and he just come out and started shooting. Mm. And so, that day again, we're laying behind the cars and you hear bullets whizzing by, hitting the ground around you, stuff like that. And so, of course, our negotiator got there and he's trying to talk to the guy. And the guy comes out, because he would come out of the house, taking some pop shots and slip back in. And
were you guys returning fire at this time, or did he have people in the house with him?
Well, we weren't sure if he had anybody else in the house with him, because he did have some family that had lived there before.
Okay.
And there's also houses around there too. So we were trying to talk about, but also trying to get a position where we could, not have anything, not have to worry about what's behind him. Mm. So the last time that he came out of the house, he came out and he didn't have the gun in his hand. So I came, I had flanked out. It was trying to get, a better position on him in case we did have to shoot, him. And when he come out, and we could verify that he didn't have the gun on, because he had a rifle. It was a 223.
Ooh, a little hotter than a 22.
Yeah. So once we verified that he didn't have the gun on him anymore, me and the my lieutenant, we had circled around and we just bum rushed him.
Damn, man, that's brave. He's lucky you guys showed such restraint. You didn't blast him.
Well, that's, when I first started, you never heard of these, like, maybe once in 5 or 6 years, you'd have a situation like this. It seems like, since I've been in, they start having it, and they just more and more, where people just kind of get off their rockers one day and say, "Hey, let's go out," and just start threatening people. When law enforcement gets there, let's just start blasting.
Yeah. Was this during the pandemic, like during the lockdowns or anything?
So this was actually before.
I know people are losing their marbles during the pandemic.
This situation was during the pandemic, so it was late late 2020.
All right.
But, it's another one situation that you could hear the bullets, but, it's luckily he was not getting close enough to, because there's probably 6 patrol cars out there, and none of them had any bullet holes in them.
Just like firing over you guys' heads or something?
Yeah. And
you were very calm, Jay. You were like, you're such a subdued personality that these calls are nuts. But has any of this bothered you? Like, I've taken fire like that twice, or even just being involved in that. Are you just like chill to the max?
Well, I am pretty chill. Yeah. I've got a pretty long fuse.
That's good for a police officer, not to be short fused.
Well, and that situation, like for instance, we had another incident where a guy had threatened his girlfriend, and she said that he had a gun, that he was going had threatened her and threatened himself. So she had got out of the residence, and I was the first officer on scene when I come pulling up. I walk up to the house, and the front door is standing wide open. It's a little single wide trailer. So when I come in, put my head through the door, because I could see him. He was sitting on the couch, like in the living room area, just right inside the front door. And I could see both his hands, so I could tell that he didn't have the gun right then. But the gun was he had a hoodie on. It was inside the hoodie pocket on the front.
Oh, like the kangaroo pouch.
Yeah. So I'm talking to him, and I've got, another officer got on scene, and she was standing behind me and was getting everybody else en route, because I just, I focused on talking to him and trying to negotiate with him. And, so when I wasn't answering the radio, I knew that they would send help, once I wasn't answering on the radio, as opposed to me taking my eyes off of him and trying to get everybody en route and then not knowing where he went and
of course,
why he was going for the gun. So I talked to the guy there in the doorway for probably 25 minutes while the units are responding. They're setting up a perimeter around the house. And I finally got him just about talked into coming out with me. And he said, "Can I call my mama?" I said, "Sure." I said, "Call your mama." I said, "Then we'll go out and we'll get this taken care of." So he calls mama, and of course, mama don't help the situation any. Then he gets right back agitated again and belligerent, and that time he had stood up and was walking, like pacing around in the living room. And I'm still talking to him, and he gets real agitated, and he walks from the living room through the kitchen, because it went living room, kitchen, kind of a little narrow hallway, and there's a bathroom and bedroom back in the back. So he took off down that hallway, where at that time, I couldn't see him anymore. I couldn't see, where the gun was in play. So I pulled out the doorway and went and took cover behind a tree. And so he'd come So the negotiators team got there and they were trying to talk him out. And finally, they kept on. He would never come out. And, I told him, hey, he said, if I didn't have a cigarette, I'll come out and smoke a cigarette and I'll surrender. I said, all right. I said, come on out. I said, I'll get you a cigarette and let you smoke a cigarette before we go to jail. And he wanted, I said, but when you come out the door, I said, better make sure you ain't got nothing in your hands.
Yeah. We don't want to have an oopsie with your swinging that gun around.
So he came out. We were kind of off to the side, me and my sergeant, and so sergeant had the main bag shotgun. So we come up and we're able to take him into custody, without any further incident. And so
it's intense, dude.
I keep a pack of cigarettes in my truck, or I was driving a truck at the time, and I don't smoke, but I always, they were Camel Crushes because you can pop them and they'd be menthol or regular, either one. And so I don't smoke, but anytime somebody's like, hey man, can I get a cigarette? And I won't give you no problems. I said, sure, I got you a cigarette.
Yeah, they just want that little shot of nicotine.
Yep. And so I took him back to the truck. Got him a cigarette, let him smoke a cigarette before we took him on to jail. And it's, and I guess I say a lot of why I'm like this because I've seen some officers once they get him in custody, they're still mad about the whole situation. We've been out here for 4.5 hours now dealing with this guy.
Right.
He's took pop shots at us. Whatever. I've always been, once handcuffs go on, that's it. It's over.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of when I first started, one of the veterans told me, he said, listen, he said, if you want to make it 30 years in this job, he said, you got to do two things. He said, treat every guy you deal with like your brother, treat every girl you deal with like your sister, up until the point where they won't let you anymore.
Right.
And
my dad gave me similar advice. He said the exact same thing. He said, you're going to see these people again. Respect them. Treat them with respect till it's time not to,
Yep. And I've tried to model my career like that, and especially working, we were a large county, but we were a small department. And so your nearest backup, he may be coming from 30 miles away.
Yeah.
It may take him 15 to 20 minutes of hard driving just to get to you. Mm. So you learn real quick how to talk to people, and how to talk your way out of fights.
Yeah. I'll never forget a video I saw of a Southern sheriff had a guy hooked up to a taser, and his responding unit was like 20 minutes out, and he just kept, every time the guy moved, he was like, don't do it. He just kept whacking him. I was like, hope he doesn't run out of batteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, man. Those were pretty intense.
Yeah. And, looking back, because you always got the benefit of the Monday morning quarterbacking and looking back over the stuff that you've done in your career. And I'm like that could have went wrong so many ways.
Yeah.
Any number of the calls and stuff I've been on, but luckily I'm still here.
Yeah. Well, thankful for that, brother.
Well, in the moment, you deal with it and deal with the situation, and it's almost like you're on autopilot. Because in that situation, you're doing everything that you need to do to make it home at night.
Sure.
And then afterwards, you look back and you're like, wow, that I just about didn't make it home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the realities of the job.
Yep.
That would definitely, I mean, you're chillaxed to the max, so I don't think it even bothers you, but some people that lie awake at night thinking about that,
Well, when you live to fight another day.
Absolutely.
So,
Jay, can you tell us about a positive, or dare I say heartwarming situation? That's a deep sigh, brother.
yeah. So about a year and a half in, we got a call one day to assist EMS. There was an infant that was not breathing.
Worst.
So, yeah. And so we responded out. It didn't take us real long to get there, given the situation. So we come sliding up. The dad met us in the front yard carrying the little baby. The infant was probably, I don't know, if it was 6 months, it would have surprised me. And dad's just bawling.
Yeah.
He's got the little baby in his arms, and he just hands it to me, and he's like, "Fix it."
Oh man.
And so I started doing infant CPR, and you could hear the ambulance sirens coming, but where we were at, you couldn't really tell how close they were. You could at least hear them coming. So I'm sitting there, doing CPR on this infant, and he started breathing again, and he started coughing and crying.
Wow.
And so EMS gets there, and they take him, check him out, and they want to take him to the hospital just to check him real good. But they said if we wouldn't have got there as quick as we did and did the CPR, that probably would have had some if the infant was still alive, they probably would have at least had some
brain damage,
some lasting damage. Yeah.
Damn, man. What a good save.
But just the look on the dad's face whenever he heard the baby start crying again. That image, I've carried it with me for a long time, and that's one of the ones that I go back to whenever you think, why am I still doing this? With everything the way it is, why do I still put the uniform on? Why do I still go to work? And that's one of the ones I go back to and say, if I wasn't there that day, that's one baby that wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Damn, man.
Or if they were still here, then they'd be having to live with some major issues, and those situations. It's that's what helps push us through, and keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a big win right there, man. Wow. Was there any, was it like SIDS? Was there any reason the kids stopped breathing?
I'm not sure if, what the cause of it was. Like I said, when the dad came out of the house, the kid was blue in the face, and so I cleared the airway, opened the airway up, and started CPR immediately. And like a week and a half prior, I just went through and recertified on my CPR, infant CPR.
Yeah, dude. Every time I do infant CPR recert, I'm like, the thought I have, and probably the same as everybody else, is please never let this be me. Like, please never let me have to do this. It's like a huge fear of mine because I have 3 kids. I have a baby.
Yeah.
I just know it would impact me so hard. I'm grateful to know that I know how to do it. But, oh man, that's really tough. Thank goodness you got the save.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably, on the same hand though, that's probably the one that's stuck with me. The negative one that stuck with me the longest is about a month and a half after that, we had another infant, almost the same exact situation, but me and my partner both did CPR until the ambulance got there, and EMS worked on it for a while, and they couldn't save it.
Oh man!
And that messed with me for a long time because, like, well, how was I good enough to save this one,
right?
But I wasn't good enough to help this one, and so that's probably still one of the ones that haunts me.
Yeah, I can imagine
to this day. And I don't have many calls like that just stick with you.
Mm.
But that, children are different in that sense because they're innocent. Most time they've not done
right
anything to deserve what's happening to them.
Right. They didn't get themselves into it. It's just,
yeah.
I hear you, man. Wow.
With a lot of our normal customers we deal with every day, the situation they're in is a product of their lifestyle.
They made their bed.
Their choices. Yeah. But, with kids, it's not their fault. And I guess that's why they stick with you more.
Absolutely. Jay, can you tell us some advice for new officers? This is a pretty popular question for the recruits out there, people getting into police work, the guys and gals that want to continue to hold the line, want to join the ranks.
So, I mentioned it earlier. Probably the biggest advice I have is just like that old veteran officer told me when I first got started. He said, when you're dealing with people, he said, treat them with respect. You treat every guy you deal with like your brother, every girl you deal with like your sister, up until they won't let you anymore. Especially nowadays, most situations can be solved just by treating people with respect. And you've got to kind of remove yourself from it, remove your emotion and stuff like that, and deal with the situation at hand. And once it's, once you've dealt with, whatever's problem arose, then you go right back to treating them with respect again.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the only difference between us and the people that were arrested is 1 or 2 life choices.
Mm. Most people aren't bad guys. They're just having a bad day, made a bad choice.
Yeah, and we don't see people on their best possible days. Nobody throws a party and says, "Hey, let's invite the police over." Right. We see people in their worst situations, their worst possible day, and it's at that moment for that person, the world's come to an end. Everything's come crashing down, and then we're put in that situation to fix it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say, you learn to talk to people, learn to treat people with respect, and even if in the past they haven't earned it, until they, in that situation, until they give you a reason to differ from the way you do handle yourself, then you try to treat them with some respect. Because in my career, I say when you work in a small agency like I was, your backup's a long way away, and you may be fighting for a long time, and if you ain't never been in a fight before, then you don't realize how long 10 minutes of fighting for your life is until you've done it.
Yeah. How much do you have in your gas tank?
Yeah. And so you learn real quick how to talk to people, how to prolong that, and because I've talked my way out of more fights than I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And that's it's probably one of the skills that's served me best in my job. But treat with respect. Make sure you get in any kind of training that you can get in. Always, expand on your skills, hone your skills. Whether it's on the job training, such as investigative trainings, things like that. Or jiu-jitsu, ground fighting, stuff like that, things that'll help make sure that you go home at the end of your shift. You don't just get stagnant. Get out there, train. I know.
Work out, even if you feel like you're going to poop your pants afterwards.
Yep. Yeah, I know. With what you were mentioning about, I guess it come from your episode 100 guy wrote up your exercise plan.
Broadway, yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah. So, yeah, get in the gym, stay fit, because these guys are out here working out, when you're not, and they're preparing for that fight. That's going to happen one day, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen one day, but you just need to make sure that you're ready for it when it does.
Absolutely. Jay, awesome interview, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Oh, totally my pleasure. I'm going to do the outro here, and just we hang out in the green room for a second so we can chat afterwards.
Sure. Absolutely.
Guys, there we have it. Episode 103. Jay from North Carolina. Great stories. Man, those infant stories were crazy. Good stuff. Good stuff as always. Guys, thanks for listening. ThingsPoliceC.com. You want to be a guest, scroll down, click Be a Guest. You can contact me directly, steve@thingspolicec.com. Shoot me an email. I love to get them. I get a lot of them, so just give me a little time to respond to you. Things have been going great with the show. We're keeping them coming, keeping them, pumping them out. So, yeah, and the last thing is just the 5-star review, guys. Just do the 5-star review. Do your 5-star riview on Apple Podcasts, and then when you're at your friend's house, grab their phone, and then their mom's in the bathroom for a second, grab their phone, 5-star review. This is how we have to do it. We have to get over 1,000 I know you guys are capable, and we can get this done. So thanks for joining us. Until we meet again.